Hello YouTube, my name is Tanner. I am a graphic designer and this is my first graphic design video I've posted on this channel. Today I'm going to be making a poster for a game that I have been playing quite a bit recently, which is Marathon. I'm very fond of that game and its art style. They use like a graphic realism, which is really tantalizing and quite interesting to look at. So I wanted to make a poster as well as being able to just sort of work out my graphic design muscles and get back into that sort of groove. So the purpose of these videos is to basically uh, learn how to design straight from my brain rather than doing it from a reference or sort of any sort of bit like that. So I hope you enjoy, and if you do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. So without any further waiting, let's get into it. So I got my artboard set up. I'm running 1080 pixel by 1350 because that's Instagram's ratio, which I'll probably post this on Instagram a little bit later after it's done. But we're going to be focusing on Recon because we're going to be making a marathon poster, and I've been really enjoying that game a lot lately. So we're going to be doing that. I want her to kind of be the focal point. So I'd like it to be sort of, you know, down center, but still bigger than all the other elements in the design. So that is what is going to happen. So I want it to sort of be kind of a monotone, one color besides like black, and that'll be sort of the direction we're going to head. So I'm running with this chartreuse color as well because I think that is really nice, and I've also been enjoying that color a lot lately. It's very brat, but not brat at the same time. Uh, but I like it a lot, and I think it works for this sort of deal because I mean Marathon has this sort of color scheme as well, so I think it all kind of ties in together. So I've got this as my starting point, and I want to basically make her kind of pixelated at the same time, but also monotone and be able to still be legible and readable from the background itself. So I'm just going to make a copy of her, and then I'm going to place it, line it up together, get rid of this. And now I'm going to I'm going to apply a color halftone to her. I'm not going to do too much. I'll do like 5. So it's not like going absolutely crazy, but I still want it to sort of be part of the background. So I'm gonna, I feel like maybe an invert would be cool on it because it kind of makes it stand out. And then we're gonna take this, I want to overlay it on top. But I was also thinking of adding a gradient map as well to this. So it kind of colorizes the pixels just a bit. So I'm thinking having it all white is not what I want. I want it to be kind of more on the dark side, so that's fine. Am I able to change the direction? I am not. No, hold on. Actually, I like where this is going. But the whole point of what I'm doing is really just to work out my own design muscles and figure that out. So a lot of these posters that I'm going to be designing are just more of exercises for myself to basically learn how to design from my own head most of the time rather than, being reliant on a reference. So my goal is to get better and to also just, if you learn something a part of this, then that's excellent for you. Next, I'm still working on the texture. So I think we're going to keep trying to hammer home the aspect of that. But there is always a way where I could introduce a texture rather than using pixelation, because all of this is kind of off the cuff outside of me looking at my own Pinterest board that I'm making for this poster. So hopefully seeing that something like this and maybe turning it up would be a better option than applying noise as well. So I just want to see what this does first. So if I clip this into this, actually hold on, I need to make it bigger, and then I need to clip it into here, which I actually don't hate. So the divide actually doesn't look too bad. I'll run with that, and I'll actually move the gradient map up here and apply it down. So now we're working with this. It's still legible. You can still kind of tell what's going on with it. And I can still just sort of move this around for further legibility inside this. So I'm thinking that's a pretty good spot that we have it. I'm actually just going to get rid of this because I don't need this point anymore. And this invert, so that's fine. So we got this. I'm still thinking it may need a little texture, but it probably I'll apply that in the background as well. So I think now I kind of want to move on to type. And I've been trying to give a little bit of thought to this, but I want to have the title as well as maybe a few other elements. Right now it's on Satoshi, but I don't want to use that. So I'm going to use this one called Low Res 9 Plus Ultra, which kind of has that sort of graphic realism feel, as well as that Marathon uses a lot in most of their like overworld art while you're playing the game. So I don't want this to be narrow regular. I kind of want it to be a little bold. Bold alt might be kind of cool. There's also narrow bold. But I'm thinking I don't want it to be overdone. I don't want there to be so many elements that it looks, you know, just annoyingly busy. So I think I'm going to run with wide bold and have that be the deal for now. So let's move this up. And I did see a quote that we could use. I'm just going to move it over here for now. But the quote I was looking at and saw that I thought was pretty interesting, because the quote of the game is, escape will make me God, but I'm thinking that this quote applies a little more because Recon is all about collecting intel, so being able to know everything would mean you're omniscient, and I think that is pretty interesting. And I kind of like this sort of thinner vibe that's going on. I'm still going to apply some texture, I think, to the background, and I would maybe like to make this slightly more readable. So I'm going to apply another one over the top. Okay, well, I've decided that I'm actually just going to change the color of this to the same color as this. And it's going to give it this sort of, you know, blended effect, but it'll look really nice like this because it's still readable. I mean, you can obviously tell from the outline that it is that, but and maybe I could honestly take down the opacity of this so it's not so aggressive, but you can still get those nice shapes. So we're going to come back to the type now, just because I think that it's not, we're not going to ignore this, but I'd like to make this smaller as well. So let's expand this, and then I'm just going to shrink it because I think having it be kind of small is really gonna have your eye focus here, and then on these elements. So I want this to not be bigger, but I want it to be above. So it's got this nice, white space that we got going on here that I think is really, really interesting. I'm feeling it at the moment. I like this. So I'm just going to move this up a bit, keep it in line. I think that's nice. And then now I want to add some more texture to it overall. So I'm actually going to duplicate this rectangle and I'm going to go above everything. I don't want to dilute the colors that I already have, so those are actually really nice, but I want to overlay it probably one more time as well, but I'm going to apply some noise. I need to convert this to the smart object, so I don't want it to be too much, but just enough to make it look interesting. And now I'm going to apply some sort of blending mode to this to where it looks interesting. I mean, that looks interesting, but I'm not going for that blue-yellow vibe. I'm trying to stay consistent with that, but that looks interesting as well. Obviously, there's a lot of ways I could take this, which is why I want to do this in the first place. So I'm thinking probably just, I don't want to overlay, but probably just multiply, maybe darken so it stays that that chartreuse color. And then I'm probably just going to reduce the opacity a bit. So it's still there. You can still see it. It's just not as overbearing. So now I'm going to apply some more texture as well. So I am going to consult my ordeal over here and then I'll be back. What I want to do is use something like this. I like how this sort of organic texture is contrasting from the sort of geometrical and sort of very, thought out pattern that I have overlaying the character. So I think I'm going to run it like this. I'm just going to size this up. And because I don't want the black to be focused, I'm actually going to invert this. Turn down the opacity, still have the invert on. Don't want to color burn it though, because it's still going to kind of mess with my legibility on it. But this sort of pin light still leaves like a really nice looking texture and still retains the color of it all. I could go linear light. I think linear light's cool. And because it's sort of organic, I don't want it to be all over the place. I kind of want it to be half of the poster. So I could either run it this way or this way. I'm thinking this way is probably best. But I will fix this right here. I'll probably blur this into this because it is a slightly different color, which is not exactly what I want. But in order to create some more legibility, I'm just going to turn the opacity up on this so it gets slightly darker. There's more legibility. But with this now, I'm going to take this and I think I'm going to apply a little bit of a blur, I think. Like a slight little motion blur. I think that looks really interesting. What kind of angle could I run? I do think the 0 angle is nice. I think that is probably pretty okay. So I'll do it like this. And now I need to find a way to basically blend these colors. Then I'm just going to take this. I'm just going to select each one of these. And then I'm just going to erase it out so it all blends in a way that seems natural. I think that looks really, really nice right now. I think I'm really feeling that. I'm just gonna maybe make it slightly bigger. So it is very bottom heavy, but in order for there to not be any sort of legibility issues, I'll probably put it just dead middle, like that. So I actually might even apply a little more blur. A little more noise. So we got this nice texture. You've got this motion blur. You've got this sort of pattern. Obviously, not gonna. I think having just one layer of recon is fine. So the next thing I think I want to add is little elements from the game that apply to recon. So because she is able to collect intel. There's these little squares that they apply in the character screens that just are like pointing out different aspects of her that I think are really, really cool. So I'm probably just going to make them straight up white so that it isn't really affected by anything else. I don't need a stroke. Actually, I do need a stroke. I need it to be a white stroke and no fill. I don't need it to be like huge. It just needs to be like kind of present as well. Probably should make that bigger actually. So probably apply a couple of these. So and I'm thinking as well, maybe apply a glow to this. Not a red glow. Don't need red. Maybe just like a white glow, but nothing like that crazy. Just like something a little slight. It doesn't need to be insane. What did I say? Lighten. But just enough so it sort of stands out. Works pretty nicely. So I think this in various different sizes and shapes, not shapes, but just different sizes, is going to go a long way for this. So applying it to different parts of her, as well as like areas slightly outside. I'm thinking this is looking quite nice. So I'm really liking this so far. I'm actually thinking I'm going to put this right here and then this over here. So we got this. And I think the last thing is I want to put big letters recon right in the back. I'll probably do the same type as what I've got here, but I'm probably just going to overlay it so it's not as apparent. And then that should honestly wrap up this little poster. So, let it go. Okay, so we're just going to go recon. I'm going to make it big enough that you're not really going to see this unless you look closely. I'm also thinking maybe I'll run with this narrow regular, maybe wide regular. I don't know. I do like the color burn. I think the color burn works nice. But I think I would like to have it sort of this color. But I don't want it to be, like just an anomaly in the entire thing. So maybe honestly working with a serif would work better here. Just because I feel like it would make it stand out slightly more. So let me see if I can find a nice little serif that I have in my files. Okay, so I'm gonna run with this. This is called Lust Display, if you care to go download it for yourself. So I'm actually going to make it this color just because I feel like that's going to really draw attention to it. So, and it is underneath as well. I think it may need to run like a shade darker. That color may be a little hard to achieve, but I really do like this. I think this is really, really nice. I'm actually impressed with myself. I didn't think I was going to be able to pull something like this out of the hat, but yeah, I think just for a little bit more, we're just gonna probably move these down below as well, so the texture is still applied, and then add on our final noise, and that should be it. Outside of this, it kind of changed the color of those just a bit, which I don't really like, so I'm actually just going to move these back up, so because I want them to be bright white. So, but yeah, that is my poster for Marathon Recon. Outside of these last little few touch-ups, because I don't like how this is combating with that. I enjoyed making this poster, and I'm going to be doing some more of these. So yeah, so there we go. Recon, my favorite character in Marathon. And because that got added back in, it made it harder to see. Nice. So yeah. So there we go. But yeah, if you are wanting to see more posters, obviously, subscribe to the channel. But let me wrap this video up properly, and then I'll say my goodbyes. So obviously, you can't see it because my camera sucks, but this is our final result, which I really, really like. Honestly, using Recon as a sort of motif is really interesting because she's got a lot of intel and sort of knowledge-based sort of elements to her that I really like. So I think that this is a very good start to this poster series, sort of nice way to kick off my graphic design YouTube journey. So if you enjoyed the video, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And if you feel inclined to, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next one. So peace. See you later. Take it easy.